Welcome back, Talk family, and thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Talk the Talk. I'm your host, Bohlale Paile, and joining me today is Bohlale, and she is the head of human resources at We Buy Cars. So Bohlale is a strong-willed, energetic woman with many talents, and I can personally vouch for that because she is absolutely amazing. Not only is she the head of HR at We Buy Cars, but she also has her own YouTube channel where she motivates and empowers young graduates, getting them ready for the corporate world. She's here today to tell us more about herself. So without further ado, let's welcome Bohlale. And as always, this interview is proudly brought to you by Seriti Solutions, MFC, and Avo by Nedbank. Hello, Bohlale.
Hello, Desh.
I'm just going to call you B, like how I do in our personal lives, okay?
That's fine, yeah.
Off camera, I mean. So B, it's such a pleasure and such an honor to have you here. I absolutely admire everything that you have achieved in your career. So tell us about yourself and your position, what you do, and what led up to this.
Thank you, Desh. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. As you've said, my name is Bohlale Paile. I'm an HR professional for the past 12 years. Mm-hmm. I've worked for fantastic corporates in terms of my HR career and journey. Mm-hmm. And in my position currently, I look after human capital for We Buy Cars. Mm-hmm. And really my role is to really help facilitate the function of human capital. Understand where are the areas in which the company needs to develop and to grow further. How do we make sure we're empowering the people that we have within our organization? Mm-hmm. And what platforms and initiatives are we coming up with in order for them to really thrive within their world of work?
Absolutely. So we a little bit off air, we spoke about a learnership program which you pioneered, implemented. Let us talk a little bit about that. I mean, remember, this is a platform where we empower other women to do what it is that you are doing. Yes. and to learn. So please just tell us a little bit about that and how other companies can empower the organizations by doing the same.
Mm-hmm. So definitely, we've recently launched an academy at We Buy Cars, and the idea around the academy really is to develop a learning and development function in the organization and ensure that we are really identifying key talent within the organization and using this as a platform to put them on a journey for a 12-month course, an accredited course, which is really going to help enable them to develop themselves. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times in organizations we have people coming into jobs and all you do is focus on your job, but what do we as organizations give back to the people that we have, right? And so this is really such an important initiative that we are running because it's really there to help facilitate and give back to people in our organizations, empower them, upskill them so that they are better individuals for having worked at our organization.
Absolutely. And why not start within the company?
Exactly.
I totally agree with that. How do you feel about our initiatives, B?
I mean, I'm so impressed with your initiatives. There's so many different things that I think you've pioneered. And being a woman in this industry, Desh, I think you've done such a phenomenal job. From the magazine to the talk show to all the different workshops that you run. I think it's such an important aspect of what you do. And sometimes we don't actually realize how important it is, right? Sometimes all that another young female or woman needs is to see that there's someone up there at the top doing something, giving back to them to enable them to actually dream beyond what they think is possible for them. So the initiatives that you run, I think, are absolutely fantastic. And I love that you're also starting at the ground, right? You're going to schools, you're starting with young females, and letting them understand that, listen, there's a place for us and there's opportunities for us. So very, very impressed with them, and well done, Desh. I think you've done such a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much. So B, you are such an amazing, you're a fireball. You really are so energetic, and it's difficult. I mean, you're heading up a company or in terms of HR of over 2,000 staff members. It cannot be easy. You need inspiration. Who inspires you and why?
So, Desh, I think it's such an interesting question, and I know a lot of people like to ask that question. But I'm constantly inspired to be a better version of myself. Right? So I understand a lot of times people answer that in the sense of, oh, this person and that person. And people have done amazing things in their lives, and they've gone through a particular journey to get them there. And I'm inspired by people who defy the odds, right? So someone like yourself, you are an inspiration on your own, just based on what you've done in your life, right? You look at someone like an Oprah. From the background that she had, who would have thought that she would be where she is right now, right? And people that defy the odds for me are just inspirational, because it really shows you that as human beings, you can tap into an inner version of who you are. You need to dig deep in order for you to get to where you need to get to. But there's a higher power that's always there, that's always helping you. And for me, inspiration is really about people that have come from odds that you would not have thought they'd make something of themselves, but they have been able to. And those are the people that I feel are beacons. Those are the people that I feel stand tall in front of others to show them that you can, irrespective of where you've come from. So my inspiration really, personally, I'm inspired to be a better version of myself all the time, but definitely inspired by individuals such as yourself, such as the Oprahs, such as, you know, the big names that you know.
Right? Thanks. You put my name with Oprah. Happiness.
But we're all human, right? I think at the end of the day, irrespective of whether you're in corporate, irrespective of whether you've got a talk show, irrespective of an actress or whatever, we're all human beings.
Absolutely.
And we've made what we make of our lives and of our journeys. We make the most of it as much as we can, right? And people that have defied the odds for me are just absolutely inspirational. So there isn't one person that I idolize or look at and think, geez, that's the person I want to be like. No, I want to be
that's quite dangerous,
a better version of myself.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. That's quite dangerous.
Yes.
I do not have a specific person that I idolize. The reason being is because many of them have actually demotivated me by things they've done, and they're not perfect. So please do not idolize me. I'm a human being. I'm going to make a mistake. But yes, it's you just take the best out of each person that you encounter. Because actually it's said, and it's debatable, but it's said that you become the average of the 5 people you spend time with. Absolutely.
100%.
So, B, what motivates you to work hard, or do you work smart?
It's a combination. It's a combination. I think I try by all means to be as efficient as possible, to work smart. But what inspires me to work hard as well, I think, is really just any initiative or any organization I go into, I have a vision for myself all the time. I never go into an organization with the idea of, oh, I've got this job, let me tick the boxes of what needs to be done and that's it. Because for me, a job is less about, you know, going in and just doing what's required of you. But it's about what value are you adding to the role that you're in, and how do you leave that environment or that organization a lot better off than when you got there.
Absolutely.
So what inspires me to work hard is goals that I set for myself within my career. I challenge myself all the time with regards to what is it that I want to achieve, and what are the areas that I need to develop in to help me achieve that. And for me, it's a legacy thing. You know, I've got 2 young daughters. They look up to you regardless of whether you see them looking up to you or not.
Absolutely.
They're inspired by your work ethic. They're inspired by what you achieve. They're inspired by what you teach them just from who you are and less about what you say. So for me, it's leaving a legacy for
I love that. Let's just hang on to that.
Yes.
Inspired by who you are.
Yes.
And less by what you say. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, thank you for that. Sorry, I interrupted you. I just needed to grasp that. How do you balance work and your personal life? Because you just mentioned you've got 2 girls and it's not easy.
No, definitely not easy, especially a mom of 2 young girls, married. trying to have a social life outside of work. But balancing work and personal life for me is intentional. I think I really try that, you know, when I end a particular day, if there's nothing absolutely urgent for me to do, I switch off and try be intentional. So for me, it's really about being intentional in every space that you're in. If I'm at work, what am I here to do? What do I want to be? How do I want to be productive in this particular day? And how can I make sure that I've made the most of the day that I have? But when I'm at home, I put on a very different hat and I try and say, how can I be more intentional here? How can I give my kids the time that they need? How can I give myself the time that I need to de-stress, to anything that kind of gets me back into balance? And so outside of things like working out, ensuring that I'm eating healthy, really just giving into myself, because you can only really give of yourself based on what you have, right? Inside of you. So balancing work and personal life for me does get tricky, but I think being intentional about whatever space that you're in, give that your focus. Because I think a lot of times it's easy to take work home and forget that you've got a home life that needs its own attention, that needs a different version of yourself. And equally, sometimes when things are tough at home, you bring that into work and vice versa, right? So I think it's about demarcating. I'm at work. How do I want to show up today? I'm at home. How do I want to show up as a mom, as a wife? All of those types of things. It takes a lot of work, but I think that's the only way that I get around it.
So B, you know, we have many young girls, young women also starting off in HR, and you are an HR director, head of HR at We Buy Cars, a huge company, and many of them are trying to navigate. So my question to you is, how can they, or how do you bring professionalism to the table, yet keeping your identity and also applying all of these new, you know, learnership programs, development programs, or whatever it is? How do you keep this momentum going of being B and being strong at what you do and making a difference?
Yeah, great question, Desh. And I love that question because this is something I do in my spare time as well.
Oh, wow.
In terms of encouraging, motivating, inspiring young people in terms of how to transition into the world of corporate.
Right.
So for young ladies that are wanting to be in HR, that are inspired to make a difference from an HR perspective, I think you need to be led by what motivates you and what is purpose driven for you, right? Like I said earlier, when you choose a career path, let it not be about the fact that you just want to tick a box and have a job and you get your salary, but let it be about what impact and what difference can I make in this particular organization. Always remember that in any career that you're in, you want to set an example, not just for yourself, and it's not about just you, but it's about how can other people that are coming up behind me see me as something to aspire towards, or see me as an example that they want to get into. And HR is such an important facet of any organization, right? An organization is made up of people, is made up of individuals. Each of those individuals come with their own goals, their own dreams, their own development plans, personalities, right? And in HR, the idea is you need to ensure that you are trying to build processes and initiatives that are for the people. It needs to be about understanding the individuals that work in the organization. What are their careers? What are their goals? Where do they want to get to? And making sure that as you then design different initiatives, learning platforms, promotional initiatives, you need to be able to ensure that as you build an HR function, as you create a strategy from an HR perspective, people need to be at the heart of what you're doing.
Right.
It's not about ticking a box. It's not about ensuring that you can say we've got A, B, C, D, but does it serve the people that actually work there?
Yeah.
For me, it's always about creating a culture that makes people want to come and work at the organization, that makes people excited about working at the organization. And in order to do that, the employer brand needs to speak for itself. And the only way that you're able to get a positive employer brand out there is by ensuring that the people that work there love working at that place, because word of mouth, I promise you, is the most important thing that you can have. Employees will always share with their families, will always share with their friends the experience of working at that place, and that needs to always be the focus.
Absolutely.
Are the people here happy, and am I making a valuable contribution from a people perspective?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to stay cognizant of the fact that if your team and if the company employees are happy, your clients are going to be happy.
Yes.
And they are going to support the organization, and they're going to champion for that organization.
Exactly.
So it's critical that employees are happy where they are.
Definitely.
So V, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. You are a phenomenal, powerful woman. It's not very long that we know each other, but we've become personal friends. And I really just invite women into my personal space when I have such a powerful connection with that person. You were even at my 40th birthday party, and that's because I have so much of faith in you and what you do for the upliftment and empowerment of many, not just women, but people. It's about people for you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Dash. Much appreciated.
Viewers, we would like to thank you for your continued support and encourage you to like and share our content. Our non-profit companies, the Motoring Woman of the Year Awards, powered by MFC and Avo by Nedbank, and the Talk Studios, sponsored by Seriti Solutions and Avo by Nedbank, are platforms aimed at empowering, uplifting, and celebrating the women of motoring South Africa. We are not just telling stories, we are changing lives. If you are searching for a new or pre-owned vehicle, please visit www.auto.avo.africa. We have a wide range of vehicles on sale for you to choose from, and we only advertise on behalf of reliable and trustworthy MFC accredited dealerships. This car listing portal is user-friendly, and you can also find vehicle reviews, car maintenance tips, and automotive advice, all courtesy of Talk Studios. So I want to leave you with a quote: the aim of education is knowledge, not of facts, but of values. And also, knowledge is treasure, but becomes ignorance if not put into practice. So yes, knowledge is very powerful. Use that knowledge. Ladies today will never come again. Be a blessing, be a friend, encourage someone. Take time to care. Let your words heal and not wound. You never know what the next person is going through and what they might need. Go out in the world today and just be kind to everyone, even your taxi drivers, even the security guards, whoever it is. There are people you do not know why it is that they are not smiling. Put that smile on their face. Compassion is definitely more or a more liberating emotion than love, and that's from my guru, Sadhguru. And with that, I would like to remind you that the question should never be who's going to let me. It should always be who's going to stop me.